So today we're going to be talking about Chapter 15, which deals with individual behavior. The company that we're going to be relating the topics to is Cameron International Corporation. I'm going to be providing you with a brief history of the company as well as some recent financial statistics that we have found. So in 1883, Cooper Industries was created by Charles and Elias Cooper. Cameron International, formerly known as Cooper Cameron, was originally founded by Jim Abercrombie and Henry Cameron in the early 1920s. Their creation was the first blowout preventer, otherwise known as BOP. It revolutionized the fledgling drilling industry and soon was used throughout Venezuela, Mexico, and Texas. Cameron was light years ahead of their competition when it came to pressure valves, drills, and underwater supplies. Cameron's purpose is to create flow control technology that energizes the world. Their core values are to embody them both as a company and as individuals. Their vision is simple: no one gets hurt and nothing gets harmed. So as of 2014, Cameron International is located in 23 countries with approximately 20,000 plus employees. From 2011 up until December 2014, the company's revenue has increased approximately $4 billion. According to Bloomberg Business, Cameron has reduced the percentage of sales devoted to selling general and administrative costs from 13.95% to 12.4%, which is a 1% difference, which in turn led to a bottom line growth of approximately $100 million. So now that we've kind of looked at the company as a whole, we're going to go into our first topic of perception. So perception is kind of like a collection of, is how you perceive someone based on their attributes. Attributes are basically the quality of a characteristic. So Cameron, the attributes of Cameron would be their core values, which include integrity, responsibility, innovation, excellence, and collaboration. They're establishing themselves as leaders. They want people to perceive them as leaders of the oil and gas industry. So a few points that we're going to be looking at include psychological contract, fundamental attribution error, impression management, the halo effect, and self-serving bias. Psychological contract is basically the relationship between an employer and an employee, the expectations within the relationship. And an example would be the health benefits or the insurance that Cameron offers to their employees. The employees want to feel safe. They want to be, they want to make sure that they're covered in case anything happens. And Cameron offers various insurance plans such as health, dental. They also offer a 401k for the employee and their family. Just to briefly go over a few of the definitions, fundamental attribution error basically is when somebody looks at the external factors to judge a person's actions. The self-serving bias basically says that whenever they are successful at something, it's because they did it themselves, and when they fail, it's somebody else's fault. So looking at a stereotype, you're basically assigning an individual with attributes assigned to a group. A halo effect would be using one attribute of a person to describe their overall the impression of that person. Impression management is basically managing how people perceive you. So now that we've looked at how perception is included in the individuals in Cameron, we're going to now look at personality.
Personality is defined as the enduring characteristics that make each of us unique. I'm going to talk about the big 5 personality traits. The first one is extroversion, is an individual that is very outgoing. Next one is agreeableness, an individual that is cooperative in most situations. The Third one is conscientiousness, is an individual that takes responsibility. Fourth one is emotional stability, an individual that stays calm and confident. Fifth one is openness, an individual that has a creative spirit. Now I'm going to go into the other 5 personality traits, which are with workplace. Locus of control, an individual that believes that what happens is within their control. The second one is authoritarianism, which is an individual that tends to accept authority quicker than everybody else. Machiavellianism, an individual that uses persuasion along with their manipulative, dominant personality. Fourth one is self-monitoring, an individual that adapts quickly to situations. Type A, an individual that is a perfectionist, which causes continuing stress on themselves. The way these traits combine into Cameron is that they may target an employee with all these in order to fit into their collaborative culture. Cameron has programs in place to help people. One of those programs is called Links. Links is Cameron's internal collaboration. Links provides an online support system that helps you connect with people. And now we'll be going into attitudes.
Attitude is a tendency to act a certain way towards people and things in our environment. Cameron has over 28,000 employees and many different attitudes. To fully understand this, there are 3 components of individual attitude. The first is cognition, which reflects a belief or an opinion. Second is the affective or emotional component, which reflects a certain feeling. Third is the behavioral component, which reflects an intention to behave in a manner consistent with the belief and the feeling. So as Cameron International, they believe in a sense of community as a whole. Cognition will be one of Cameron's key values, integrity. Simply because they earn the trust of their colleagues, the effect would be the employees feeling that there is a stress-free environment. Also have an opportunity to advance in the company and learning new experiences. Behavior would be that of Cameron's employees would join training and joining the Lean Six Sigma, which is to promote improvement, and the 3 C's of Cameron, which are cost reduction, cycle of improvement, and customer satisfaction. Cognitive dissonance is the discomfort felt when attitude and behavior are inconsistent. So hypothetically speaking, if Cameron didn't have a sense of togetherness and community throughout the company, but have programs that promoted teamwork, this would be an example of cognitive dissonance because Cameron's attitude and behavior are inconsistent. Now we'll be going into emotions, moods, and stress.
Emotions, moods, and stress. Emotions are strong feelings directed towards someone or something. A point under emotions is emotional intelligence, also known as EI, which is simply the ability to understand emotions and manage them effectively. An example at Cameron would be supervisors and managers providing 401k programs and insurance programs to their employees. Not having these programs available, they would know that the emotions of their employees would change significantly. Moods are generalized positive and negative feelings or a state of mind. A point under mood is mood contagion. At Cameron International, they have the DNA Association, which is simply the Development and Networking Association. This association is simply for mixers and special events for the employees to feel more at home at the company so that this mood could transcend throughout the entire company. Stress is a state of tension caused by extraordinary demands, constraints, or opportunities. 2 points that were under stress that stood out to me was constructive stress and deconstructive stress, which is just simply positive and negative. A deconstructive stress would be, as an employee at Cameron, managers and supervisors are entrusting their employees to handle multi-million-dollar drilling equipment. This would be a deconstructive stress because they would know that handling this equipment could be an everyday stress because it's a huge responsibility. And a positive stress, which is just a constructive stress, would be the SCOPE program, which is also known as the Subsea College of Project Execution, which is simply a program to promote really good project managers in the oil and gas field. And now I'll go on into the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, an approach to personality that differentiates the types of personalities by giving individual questions that tap into how a person would feel or act in certain situations. So a statistic that we found was the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator assessment is a psychometric questionnaire designed to measure psychological preferences and how people perceive the world and make decisions. And as many as 1.5 million assessments are administered annually to individuals, including employees of the most Fortune 500 companies. And then we found a really small cartoon that gave an example of the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. It says, from now on, all teams will be formed on basis of Myers-Briggs personality types. The second one is, if you do not have a personality, one will be assigned to you by human resources. And the third, we need a quiet, dumb guy to be paired with an extroverted thinker. So, just to give a rundown of what that actually means. Extroverted versus introverted. Simply, social interaction. Is a person outgoing, which would be an extrovert, or is a person an introvert? A person that's shy and quiet. S and I, sensing and intuitive. Gathering information. A person's focused on the tiny details, or are they focusing on the big picture? So sensing would be them focusing on the small details, and intuitive would be how do I perceive this in the world off of what I look at. And then the T and F, thinking versus feeling. Decision making. A person either relies on logic and realistic factors or goes with their emotions to handle problems. Judging and perceiving. The J and the P of Myers Type Indicator, which is the last one. Work style. A person either likes direction at work, or a person either likes to go with their own flow and flexibility. And after knowing about the Myers Type Indicator, that is the conclusion of Chapter 15 and Cameron International. Thank you.